Hi everyone, my videos on surface marking is very popular all over the India. Now today I can do the surface marking of the upper limb. Why the surface marking is so important and it comes in the examination to you. You know the surface marking is actually we can do that. We can examine a patient by means of surface marking. Not only it is important to the medical profession but the paramedical, particularly the physiotherapist, the nurses, all of the paramedicals require the surface marking to determine some of the point of examination as also the treatment. So I think all of you learn the surface marking properly so that you can benefit it in the later period of life. Now in the upper limb, you will see the bony prominences in the medial part of the forearm. This is the medial epicondyle. I mark this by means of black marker. So this is the position of the medial epicondyle. Behind the medial epicondyle, I can feel here a nerve, and this nerve is the ulnar nerve. It is very important because a person actually examine there is leprosy or not, there is thickening of the ulnar nerve is here. Next is here on the lateral side, that means side is on the thumb. In this side there is another bony prominence. I can feel it here, and there I mark is given, and this is known as the lateral epicondyle. I can show it the lateral epicondyle here. So this is the medial epicondyle and this is the lateral epicondyle. And from the lateral epicondyle, all the extensor muscle of the forearm arises and goes to the back. Next, you can see the olecranon process. You will see if you bend the elbow, you will see this point is the olecranon process, and if you extend it, you can feel the olecranon process also. And by the feeling, you can see whether the olecranon is dislocated or not, whether it is in normal position. So you can identify the fracture of the lower end of the humerus by putting these 3 points. One is lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, and the olecranon. These three are in a line, but in fracture it is disturbed. Next thing you will see here, this is known as the cubital fossa. That means the cubital fossa, here there is a thick tendon. I can feel, each and everybody feel here the tendon. Then you will see that in the tendon, on the medial side of the tendon, if you put your finger, then you can see the palpation of an artery, and that artery is the brachial artery. So this is the tendon of the biceps brachii. Medial to that there is the brachial artery. And what it has got importance, because you know when you measure the blood pressure cuff occludes this brachial artery, and after that you can release the pressure cuff. In this way the blood pressure is measured. So this is the cubital fossa. Next you will see here, this is actually the elbow, region of the elbow joint, and the crease of the elbow, and below 1 centimeter below the crease of the elbow, here the brachial artery bifurcates into two divisions. One is radial artery going to the radial side, and you can take the pulse here, and here is the ulnar artery. So these are the lines, these are the points, and these are the lines. So how you can draw the radial artery? So first point you will give 1 centimeter below the bend of the elbow. Next thing you will give the point that is in front of the lower end of the radius, just medial to the flexure carpi radialis. So this point, and when you will see, you will join this point by means of two lines, but here as the marker is very thick, that's why only one line is suffice, otherwise you should give the 2 line. So this is the radial artery. Next you will get the ulnar artery. Ulnar artery origin is the same point, because here there is a bifurcation and it will go on the medial aspect of a tendon. I can feel this tendon, and this tendon is known as the flexure carpi ulnaris. So you will give lateral to this a point. So you will see here, this is the ulnar artery up to this level. Now above this level there is a curve, that is the course of the ulnar artery. So in this way one can know which one is the direction of the artery. Here the most commonly the radial pulse is palpated against the radial bone, and this direction should be known because somebody is do the angiography and all this thing. Next thing, you will see how one can feel the pisiform bone. Now pisiform bone, this is the hypothenar eminence. This is the hypothenar eminence, this is the thenar eminence. Now below this, that means the hypothenar eminence with the junction of the forearm, you will feel one bone, and this bone is known as the pisiform bone, and that is the example of sesamoid bone. Next is that you will see here 2.5 centimeter below the pisiform bone, as it is placed flat, but our anatomical position is this position. So this is the 2 centimeter below the pisiform bone. On the medial side of the ring finger, one can get the hook of the hamate. So this is the position of the hook of the hamate. Because in the fall in the outstretched hand, there may be the painful part of the hook of the hamate is torn away. So this is the thing you will see. Now you will see the base of the scaphoid bone. The scaphoid is the lateral bone, and you will see, if you will abduct the thumb and you will place it in such a way, you will see there is a hollow here. So in this hollow you can give the lower part a point. This is the scaphoid bone. Now the scaphoid bone is actually fractured during the outstretched hand, fall on the outstretched hand during biking or in a cycle. This is very common fracture. Now how you will draw the superficial palmar arch, that is the arterial arch, and it extends from this ulnar artery upwards. How far? It can extend up to the distal border of the thumb. So the upper limit is the distal border of the thumb. So this is the superficial palmar arch, and it is completed with the radial artery branch. Sometimes it may not be complete. So this is the superficial palmar arch. So for this reason of the arterial arches, superficial palmar arch, deep palmar arch, the palm is more warmer. So one should check the fever with the dorsum of the hand, not with the palm. That is the styloid process of the radius. You see the lateral bone is the radius, and this radius in the lower part near the wrist joint, there is a projection that is known as the styloid process of the radius. So this is the point, that is the styloid process of the radius. This may be often fractured in twisting force. Now which one is the styloid process of the ulna? If you put your dorsum of the hand, you see the head of the radius is above, but head of the ulna is below. So this bony prominences is the head of the ulna. This is the bony prominence here. If you can flex, then you will see the bony prominence. So this is the head of the ulna. Now the styloid process of the ulna lies posterior-medial to it. So this one, hook-like, this is the styloid process of the ulna. So these prominences are used to determine the fracture of the bone by clinically, not radiologically. So the head of the radius, you see the head of the radius is in the upper part. You see this is the lateral epicondyle, below the lateral epicondyle, and you will mark it by doing pronation and supination. This is the actually you can feel this head of the radius. So the head of the radius is in the upper part, head of the ulna is below. In the upper part where it lies, you will see this is the lateral epicondyle, below the lateral epicondyle, and you will confirm this point by doing pronation and supination. That means this type of movement. So their head rotate. So this is the head of the radius. Now if you flex near the elbow, you will see there is a deep depression here. I have got also this deep depression in this region. So this depression disintegrates the posterior border of the ulna. You can feel it, the posterior border of the ulna. So this is how we can get point and the lines in the forearm. Next, in the arm. In the arm, you should locate that what is the acromioclavicular joint. So this is the part of the scapula, and this is the acromion, and this is the clavicle or collarbone. So this point is the acromioclavicular joint. Now there is movement occurs during the shoulder movement. So in the shoulder pain, there may be the acromioclavicular joint may be stiff. Now you will give the point. This is the tip of the acromion. Acromion is the lateral end of the spinous process, which everybody can feel in their body. So this is the acromion, and 3 cm below the acromion we can push the intermuscular injection. So this is how the surface marking helps to examine a patient. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and if you like this, please subscribe my channel and share it to others. Thank you.